Hey guys, what's going on? James here, and in this video today, we're going to be talking about how Rob Gronkowski plans on returning to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for the 2021 season. Now, I'm getting this off of Kevin Patra's article on NFL.com. This was published on January 17th, 2021. So this came up on Sunday, and I feel like I haven't seen a lot of people talking about it. I'm sure the usual suspects have talked about it, like Rick Stroud, Greg Auman, Jensen, and all the other reporters and, podcasts that are out there. I'm sure they've talked about it, but I haven't talked about it yet, so I wanted to give my thoughts on this. So, talking with Willie McGinnis Sunday morning, Rob Gronkowski said, yeah, you got to, when asked about returning to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and then he went on to say, I feel like this team was built to win right now. It was put together this year to win right now. It always pops up in your mind. You're thinking about the future a little bit. I could definitely see this team also having a lot of talent come back and having another successful run next year as well with me. Now, Rob Gronkowski did finish this season with 45 catches, 623 yards, and 7 touchdowns. Not a bad season overall. He definitely is starting to look like the Rob Gronkowski, just a year or two before he retired. So, overall, pretty decent numbers in my opinion, but the biggest thing to note there is that Rob Gronkowski did not miss a single game this year with injury. He has been relatively healthy throughout the whole year. Of course, every player deals with, certain nagging injuries here and there, but Gronkowski never missed a game, which is absolutely huge. And just to kind of talk about expectations real quick from this season, I think when Gronkowski was traded for, a lot of people were super excited at first. And then some of those people started to taper off a little bit and say, well, he hasn't played in a year. How's he going to look? Is he going to be old and washed up? Is he still going to be injury prone? What's going to happen with Rob Gronkowski? And I think a lot of people's expectations, even those who thought Rob Gronkowski was going to do good, myself included, I think those expectations were blown out of the water a little bit. I mean, over 600 receiving yards and 7 touchdowns coming off of a year that he spent retired are pretty decent stats. I think that we're still seeing flashes of Rob Gronkowski's, freaky athleticism and catching ability. I will say sometimes watching him run is a little, it's a little goofy watching Gronk run sometimes. That's the only word I can use to describe it because, sometimes he just looks like he's running through quicksand. But overall, Rob Gronkowski as a receiving tight end has worked. And going into this season with him and O.J. Howard and Cameron Brate, I thought there was going to be more of a split between all three of those guys, especially O.J. Howard and Rob Gronkowski. Unfortunately, O.J. Howard did suffer that injury, and then it went down to Rob Gronkowski and Cameron Brate. But overall, I definitely feel like Gronk was the main receiving guy out of that entire tight end room after O.J. Howard went down. Now, whenever O.J. Howard comes back next season, I'm going to be really excited to see these two together again because I thought it worked out pretty darn well, and O.J. Howard is a beast, and I love him. But Rob Gronkowski put in some pretty good numbers, and I think he blew expectations out of the water just as a receiver. But where I think he really does shine throughout this past season is as a blocking tight end. A lot of people like to say, well, Bruce Arians doesn't like to use tight ends as receivers and all this stuff. Gronkowski still put up pretty decent numbers, over 600 yards and 7 touchdowns. That's a solid season in my opinion. But Bruce Arians is loving how well Rob Gronkowski has been blocking this year as a tight end. I mean, he has helped out this offensive line in an astronomical way. Bruce Arians said this past offseason that Anthony Auclair was one of the better blocking tight ends in the entire NFL and that bringing him back was a priority. While that is the case, I don't know if that's as much of a priority anymore because Rob Gronkowski is looking like one of the better blocking tight ends in the entire NFL today. The way he has been able to help out this offensive line throughout the regular season and especially in the playoffs. I mean, you guys saw that Washington football game, and you even saw in that New Orleans Saints game as well. I mean, Gronkowski's helping out this offensive line. He's helping out the tackles in such a huge way by being such a great blocker. Even Gronkowski's joked about it throughout the regular season by saying, hey, I'm just a blocking tight end, guys. It is what it is, He jokes around with it, but he's a darn good blocking tight end, and I think that that is going to make Bruce Arians want to bring him back even more. I think this is a guaranteed thing, because Bruce Arians, I'm sure he absolutely loves what Rob Gronkowski is bringing to the team as a receiver and especially as a blocker. Tom Brady is obviously going to advocate for this and say, hey, why don't we bring back my friend? He's a great red zone target. He's a pretty good receiving tight end, and you know what? He's helping make my job easier by giving me more protection. This seems like a slam dunk. And I don't think it's just one of those situations where a player says, yeah, I'd love to come back, and then the organization says, we'll see. I think it's very much mutual there, and I'm not going to be surprised at all when a deal gets done, just in my opinion. I'm pretty confident about this one. There is going to be a matter of price. Rob Gronkowski's making around $9.5 million this season. In the article that was written, it talked about how Gronkowski would probably take a discount from the market price to stay with the Buccaneers. What would that discount look like? I'm not sure. If he's taking around $6.5 to $7 million, I am all for that, especially given the Buccaneers cap situation, only having around $28 million. Having a little bit, even if it's a couple of $1,000,000, having that relief to go out there and re-sign a guy like Shaq Barrett or re-sign a guy like Chris Godwin is going to be so huge. And that's the type of stuff you want from players, to be team players, to say, you know what, I'll take a discount so we can run it back. Depending on, however the Tampa Bay Buccaneers season ends, at the end of the day, they are going to take another shot at the Super Bowl next year. So having guys like Gronkowski take those discounts and say, let's keep on going, is awesome, and it's huge in terms of bringing back as much talent as the Buccaneers can. So, guys, with that being said, Rob Gronkowski plans to come back to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 2021. I think it's a slam dunk move, and I'm going to be very happy to have him back on the team next season. I think he's been phenomenal. I mean, absolutely phenomenal as a blocking tight end, and I think that while he's still working back into the fold as a receiving tight end, I think that he really blew a lot of people's expectations out of the water this season. But what do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments section below. How do you feel about Rob Gronkowski and how he did this season, and how do you think he's going to do next season for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? And do you think he's coming back at all, or what do you think about this whole situation? Leave me your thoughts. But anyway, guys, that's gonna be it for this video. Hope y'all enjoyed. I'll see you guys in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs.